everybody, it's Lou back again. How are you doing? I hope you're all very well and you've been having lots of lovely sewing time. This is a very impromptu recording that I am doing here because I just watched Lisa Comfort's latest vlog on her Lisa Comfort channel, not on the Sew Over It one, and she did one of those get ready with me things, and she was putting her makeup on. And I found myself doing the same thing. It was like I was being hypnotised. It had an effect on me. And look, I ended up with a full face of makeup on for no reason. So I thought, well, I'm vlog ready now, might as well record something. So here I am. A few of you said that you would like to see me do the Seamstress Tag. So I thought that's what I would do this video about today. I know that it was a while ago that everybody was doing that. But why not? Why not jump on the bandwagon, hey, even though the bandwagon left probably about a year ago. I will answer those Seamstress Tag questions for you anyway, in case any of you are interested. Before I start, I'll just give you a little catch-up of what's been going on in my life. I've just finished just over 2 weeks of work covering at my husband's school again on reception, which was fun. But I didn't get much sewing done in that time. Over the weekend just gone though, I did, you might have seen on my Instagram stories if you watch them, I did a little sewing lesson for a couple of friends. Actually, only one of them ended up sewing, the other one, my beautiful Katie, she became the videographer and she was putting stuff on stories for us. But Zara made, I walked her through making her first little elasticated waistskirt, and she did a great job of it. This was the fabric that I bought for her. Actually, I'm going to show you now. So I got some just black, plain black gingham. It's poly cotton and it's really quite poly. The longer we worked with it for, the more I realised, you know, when I picked it up in the shop and I thought, oh, it feels really fresh and crisp and quite nice for summer. Anyway, it was very badly behaved and it puckered terribly every time we tried to stitch with the sewing machine. It was rippling up and we couldn't really figure out how to make it lie flat. So I did help her a bit with making the skirt sit nicely. And we got there in the end, but it was, yeah, it was naughty fabric. Anyway, I had quite a lot of it left and I thought I'll put some photos if I've got any good photos of Zara in her skirt. They might have only been boomerangs actually. But anyway, I had a bit of the fabric left over. We did that on Thursday night. That's when our weekend starts here in the UAE. And on Friday and Saturday, I decided to have a go at making something myself. So this is what I came up with. Do you remember this funny little bobbly, they look like pom-poms, but they're actually sort of fluff covered beads, if that makes any sense. They're like sort of furry beads. They're hard, so if you leaned on it, it would hurt you, because I was thinking about putting some on the sleeves, but I know it would be uncomfortable. Anyway, I got this trim a while back, and what I did was I copied my Ukrainian Vyshyvanka top. I used that as a template for this. And it's really quite cute. I intend to add a ruffle at the bottom. I haven't quite finished that yet, as you can see. I did bias binding for the neck, and they've got like these it's got these drop shoulders, and I did like little cuffs with elastic through them, which I think is dead cute. I like that effect. However, when I tried it on, there is very little movement. It's really restrictive. So I think what I'm going to do is just lop off these sleeves and put shoulder ruffles there instead. So it will essentially be a sleeveless top with ruffles on the shoulders. But it was a fun little kind of tiding me over thing to do at the weekend when I had a sudden urge to make something, and I just sort of made it up myself, drafted the pattern pieces from that top, and you know, had a little play, which was fun. Yeah, so okay, that's the only thing I've got to show you really at the moment. I am working on something which is still top secret. I think I mentioned it in my last video, I'm doing some pattern testing for somebody, which is really exciting. I've never done that before. So that's the next thing that I'll be working on, so I can't really tell you much about that. So without further ado, let's look at these questions. Now I will say as well, I haven't watched a Seamstress Tag video for maybe about a month or so, a bit longer. I did a little bit of research to see like when the last ones were out and about on YouTube and watched a few. So I've forgotten the questions. I haven't done any revision or anything. I've literally just got them up on my phone here, and I'm just going to go through them one by one and see what comes into my head. Hopefully the truth. Let's hope it's true. I promise it will be. Okay, so the first one is, who are you? Well, what a question. I am Lou, obviously. I think if you've watched my first video, you'll get more of an idea of who I am. My vlog is called Oh Liverpool Lou, and that's because I am a Liverpudlian, born and bred, Scouse and proud. Obviously, I don't live in Liverpool anymore at the moment. Maybe, can I tell you more about that later? Maybe not. Anyway, yeah, so I live in Abu Dhabi at the moment, been here for 3 years. Prior to that, we were in Morocco for 3 years. We do this with my husband's job. He's a school teacher. He teaches English to 7th graders in an American international school, and I just come with him wherever we go. But prior to that, I was in Liverpool the whole of my life, except for a little period when I was in Nottingham and Leicester for about 1.5 years, and that's it. But yeah, I stayed at home for university and everything, so Liverpool is in my blood and I miss it. But we go home every summer and spend a lot of time there, which is fantastic because it's always quality time, so I get to see my city and all my favourite people in it. For yeah, really nice quality time. What else can I tell you about who I am? Yeah, I'm Lou. I can't think of anything else really. Oh, I'm 39. I have a sister called Jenny Jones, who is my best friend in the whole world, and I love her. Yeah, and that's who I am. Okay, so moving on, next question. When and why did you start sewing? Well, I kind of answered this question as well in another of my videos, which was my Smiley Make and Story video. I started sewing in earnest, I think, about 5 years ago. I was very slow at that point. When we were little, my grandmother, who is still going, I think she's 94 now, she was a really amazing seamstress and knitter as well. So she made so many things for her very big family. She had 7 children, and she did wedding dresses, bridesmaids dresses, and they were all like the most incredibly fabulous quality. She was super skilled, but that gene sort of missed out my mother. Some of her sisters got it, but my mum didn't get it. My mum's a gardener, she got green fingers. I didn't get that. So we didn't really grow up sewing a lot. If we went to grandma's house, we might get to play with knitting, like we'd knit scarves for our Barbies and things like that, which were obviously way too big. Or I remember making a skirt for Cindy and Barbie at grandma's house as well. But it didn't go much further than that until I was an adult really. And I remember when Molly Makes came out and my sister got that magazine, and we were like cooing over how pretty and gorgeous it was, and the little kits that came with it, and we wanted to start making things. And then one year Jenny and I both got the John Lewis little JL mini sewing machines each for Christmas. And she got a baby blue one, I think, and I got a red one. And I can hear funny noises upstairs. I think it might be a child playing with a car or something, guessing. Yeah, so we had those sewing machines and did like a few daft little messing about things on it. I didn't ever buy any proper fabric or anything. I'd just sort of make stuff out of stuff I already had, and not anything good either. Then Richard and I moved to Morocco, and we literally went with 2 suitcases each and nothing else. So we didn't, we just about had enough clothes to live in. We did never mind craft supplies or anything else. So I didn't have access to a sewing machine for quite a long time, well, maybe about a year. And then on one trip home, I did bring the JL Mini back in my hand luggage. And yeah, and oh, I took it back with me, and my sister came to visit once and she brought me, I'd been watching the Great British Sewing Bee at that point as well, which was making me want to make things more. And she brought over the Great British Sewing Bee book, the second one, which, what was it called? Not Fashion with Fabric, that's the third one, isn't it? I forget what it was called. Anyway, she brought that, and I remember bursting into tears. I was so excited by that present. One of the first things I made from that was a little baby dress for a girl we knew who whose husband was a teacher at the school as well, and that was really cute. I was quite pleased with how that turned out, and I made it out of old clothes, you know, things that I didn't need anymore. So that was the first garment I made. Then I got the Tilly and the Buttons Love at First Stitch book for Christmas, and made the pyjamas, the Margot pyjamas. I made a couple of Clemence skirts. I made a 12 for the Meghan dress and got stuck and didn't take it any further. And then I started making like bunting and you know, little zippered pouches and things, and I would sell them at the, I remember I was supposed to do a craft fair at the French Institute once, and it got cancelled because it was raining, which was like highly unusual, obviously, for Marrakesh. But it was December, and it was one of, they get about 5 rainy days a year, and it was one of those days, so it got cancelled because it was going to be outdoors. So I sold them just from our flat, I think. And then we left and moved to Abu Dhabi. But I got a bigger sewing machine on Groupon when I was home one summer in the UK, had a bit more of a play with that, and brought that back with me. Yeah, and then you know, I used to get stuck a lot, and I would spend a lot of time imagining what I wanted to create and thinking, trying to figure out how I could do it. So yeah, I felt like I didn't quite have the ability to do the stuff that was in my head for quite a long time. And then we came here, and I just gradually sort of, you know, did more and more. And I really feel like this year, 2018, I set out to do it, but this has been the year where it's really taken off for me, because I made, oh yeah, I discovered the Instagram sewing community, and that was like so inspiring and got me very, very excited about sewing. And I decided to do the Make 9 hashtag at the beginning of the year, because I had built up a collection of fabric, of patterns. I'd bought a lot of sewing magazines, and I felt like I'd got quite a big arsenal of stuff that I wasn't really, didn't match my output. And I thought, right, this is the year now where I'm going to try and bring the balance into that. And I think I've done quite well so far, actually. And obviously I started my blog as well, so that made me do more. Okay, so the next question is, oh, and why did I start sewing? Yeah, it was an urge to be creative, and I think that you'll hear more in my smiley video. It became therapeutic for me as well, for various reasons. There were some struggles in my life which are ongoing. It's infertility. Sorry if that's too much information, but yeah, that's been going on for over 5 years now. So I think that my growing interest and need to create things and interest in sewing has really sort of ramped up as that's ramped up as well. So as things have got harder in that department, I've had the escape and the therapy of sewing to help me keep going through it, and it really has been therapeutic. It's been amazing. I'm so glad that I do it. So what's the next question? What is your favourite or proudest make? Oh my goodness, I think it might be this one here, which luckily is hanging up behind me, my Mimi G style Jessica dress. I did do a video on this. In case any of you haven't seen it, I'll show you it a little bit more. I did a lot of sort of tweaking and hacking with this. There were a lot of firsts for me. Princess seam bodice, I'd never done that before. I'd never lined anything before. I lined the bodice. So that was the first time I did that. What else? Oh, button bands, I'd never done that before. This obviously was really important to me. I took out the whole back panel and that was a real big challenge. I put these elasticated bits in. I still need to mend this, it's a bit rickety here, but I have got some ribbon that I'm going to use to sort of stabilise it underneath. So I figured all that out by myself, and yeah, I would say that that is my proudest make. Yeah, my proudest. What's my favourite? Oh my gosh, I still haven't worn these yet properly, guys. I haven't even been out in them yet. My flat-fronted flint culottes. Oh my gosh, what a tongue twister. Yeah, I haven't worn them yet, but I will. It's because I've been working all this time and I have to wear a sort of uniform of sorts. My goodness me, I don't miss that. I don't like having to wear certain things day in, day out. That's another thing. I need the creativity of making an outfit and wearing colour as well. I missed that while I was working. So yeah, they were quite good. What else? I think that's my proudest and my favourite, yeah. Oh, my other favourite is the other culottes that I made. I wear them a lot, the lightweight, light blue denim ones, I wear them a lot. Okay, what is your most disastrous make? Let me think. Oh, probably the first thing that I tried to make before I even had tried making a sewing pattern, or before I even had sewing patterns. I found some blue and white like shirting in Morocco, and I was so excited to have, it was like a very fine blue and white stripe, so excited to have this big piece of fabric, and I invented what I wanted to make in my head. I wanted to make a little top and a skirt to go with it. And I got to a certain point with it, but you know, I didn't understand garment construction. I didn't understand how important it is to make a garment 3D. I found a kind of way, I put like pleats in it, in the top to make it, you know, have a shape, but it just ended up wrong. It was too short. I made my own bias tape out of it, my own bias binding, and I was really proud of that. But the top itself was unwearable. Oh gosh, this has reminded me of something else. I made a little top out of an old shirt of Richard's once as well. That was a bit of a disaster. But you know, I think those things that you do in the beginning, you're sort of finding your feet, and obviously you still are forever and ever more, and I always will be learning. But you have to go through those mistakes, don't you, to sort of learn from them and move on. What else? Oh, these were a disaster, but I salvaged them because I messed up the flat-fronted instructions on how to make them flat-fronted, but I did save it, so they didn't turn out to be a disaster in the end, which is great. Where's your favourite place to go fabric shopping? Oh my gosh, I'd probably say fantasy place would be Liberty. Although I've been to Liberty, I haven't been since I started like getting into sewing a lot, so I've not really gone fabric shopping there. That would be the fantasy favourite place to go fabric shopping. Where else? I love good old John Lewis haberdashery. Obviously don't get to do that very often because I'm not in the UK. I tend to buy things online, so I've ordered from Sew Over It. Where else have I ordered from? Haberdashery's D-Stash sale. Here, my favourite place, there's a shop in town called Cairo Textiles, and then there's Alamari as well. They're just very old, quite well established textile shops that sell loads and loads of fabric. In fact, I did go fabric shopping yesterday, and I made a couple of little videos on my phone of it because I was thinking about making a video about it. I haven't watched them back yet. I don't know how interesting it would be, but maybe I'll do a mini video of that. Yeah, so favourite places, anywhere really. I just love fabric shopping and going and looking at any fabric. Okay, so what is your most used pattern? Well, I think that would actually be the Megan Nielsen Flint culottes now, because I've made 2 of them. Oh no, I tell a lie. It's not really a pattern, but the Clement skirt from Love at First Stitch, Tilly and the Buttons' first book. I made 3 of those. Obviously, it's not really a pattern. You just have to do your measurements and draft it yourself from there. But I made 2 gathered skirt versions and 1 pleated one. 2 of those skirts, the zips broke on both of them, and that was because I used quite cheap invisible zips from funny little haberdasheries in Morocco. It was very hard to find good quality notions there. It's a little bit like that here as well. If you want, you know, a really good invisible zip with twill tape on it, it's really hard to find. They usually they've got like this mesh stuff on, and it just doesn't last very well. So 2 of those skirts died a death, sadly, but they did get worn to death. Like, I wore them a lot, which is good. So they were my most used patterns for quite a while. Now it's probably Flint, and I do have plans to make more of those as well, so that could get into first place. Your most dreaded sewing task is, oh my gosh, now I would have said unpicking, but when I made that Jessica dress and when I did the terrible mistake on these Flint collars, I had to do a lot of unpicking. And actually, once I got going, I enjoyed that process. It was very satisfying getting everything out and undoing it all. And I didn't feel sad that it was like I was undoing all this work. I just moved on to the task of, this is the project I'm doing now. I'm unpicking, and I enjoyed it. You know, got something good on the telly, a cup of tea, glass of wine maybe, and it was fine. So I would have said that in the past, but not anymore. Buttonholes are a bit of a stressy one. But yeah, I did obviously loads of buttonholes on these. They are a bit of a show behind the buttons, but it doesn't matter, does it? Because they look fine. So they were stressful to do, but you know, you just do them and it's worth it in the end. Invisible zips are still pretty hellish. I haven't done one of those for a while. I don't cope well with those at all. The last one I did, I hand stitched in, start to finish, just to avoid the horror of the invisible foot machine thing, zipper foot. You know what I mean, not working. Yeah, I watched a Stitch Sisters vlog on that recently on how to put various kinds of zips in, and it was really good. And I think, I know a bad workman blames his tools, but I think I need to get some better zip foots because they use different ones to me, and I think that's the key. So that might be not my most hated sewing task in the end. Oh, another thing, I kind of enjoy assembling PDF patterns. The only thing I don't enjoy about it is that you have to be down on the floor and it ends up hurting your knees. Yeah, and that's it really. Oh, alterations and mending. Oh God, so boring. I lose momentum. Like this poor creature, it's going to get abandoned for a while. And that distresses me as well, like knowing I've got unfinished objects sitting around. But the idea of getting back into the zone with that project, I don't know, I'm like, oh, I don't want to. But anyway, I will make myself do it. Favourite sewing task? Finishing a garment. I think everyone would say that, wouldn't they? Yeah, like completing something that's been in your head. It's not really a task, it's just part of the process, I suppose. And it being right and it fitting and it looking the way you imagined it. That's wonderful. But favourite sewing task? I rather like understitching facing to seam allowance. I like that. It's quite satisfying. What else? Pressing seams and pressing hems. I need some of those little rubber things to go on the ends of my fingers to stop the steam burning you. Have you seen those? They look brilliant. I really enjoy, I love pressing things and getting them to sit really nicely. That's very satisfying. Yeah. Okay, so question number 9. What is your favourite sewing entertainment? Well, I would say not watching something on the telly. I just said I watched something while I was doing my unpicking. If you're going to do that, it needs to be something that you've seen before or that you don't mind not being completely tuned into, because obviously sewing is a very, very visual thing. You need to be looking at what you're doing while you're sewing, don't you? So I find for me, BBC, you know, things I can hear. BBC Six Music is my favourite radio station. I am always happy listening to that while I sew, or sometimes I'll just put my own iTunes on shuffle. Although recently I've decided to try and listen to more albums again, the way we used to do in the olden days. Remember when we used to put that cassette tape in and just press play and listen to it? Yeah, I started doing that again a bit more recently with Spotify because we're going to a festival in the summer, which which I'm very excited about. We're going to the Green Man, and I want to revise so I know everybody's songs for all the acts that we're going to see. So I was listening to people's albums, doing that. Another thing I love to do is listen to podcasts. I think loads of other people are probably similar with that. Stitches Brew, of course, and Love to Sew are my top 2 faves. So yes, Audible entertainment is definitely my favourite sewing entertainment. Printed or PDF? Oh, well, needs must it's PDF for me because I don't have very much access to the kinds of printed patterns that I would like to buy here. They're not very easy to come by at all, so PDF patterns are my saviour. I think if I was in the UK, I'd probably want to get more printed patterns, especially the indie ones, because they're just so pretty. I love looking at them. I do have a little pattern stash here actually, of things that I've just built up over the years, and I do love those printed real thing patterns. I just think there's something very beautiful about them. But yeah, in the meantime, PDF patterns, I have no complaints about them. They mean that I can sew, so they're brilliant. So a bit of both really. What sewing machine do you use? Well, as I say, I started off with the JL Mini, then I got my little brother on Groupon, and just a couple of weeks ago I was treated to a Janome DKS 100, which is amazing, and I'm mega excited to have it. I feel like I haven't really even fully explored its potential yet. I've only sewn this on it and a wallet that went wrong for Cogs. Yeah, I think I've got a lot of excellent sewing fun ahead of me with that beauty. Yeah, it's amazing. Automatic thread cutter. I mean, I feel like I just hadn't lived before I had that. It's amazing. And also I was very lucky because here we can get it for a bargain. It's cheaper than in the UK, so it was almost half the price actually. Lucky Lulu, I know. Okay, and finally, do you have any other hobbies? Well, I used to be an avid reader, but I would say over the last, I go through phases with that. You know, I think I read more than I'd ever read before in my life when we were living in Morocco, because life was pretty basic there, and I worked in a school library, and I used to just read constantly. That was my entertainment. But yeah, I've been terrible with reading lately, and I haven't read a novel for literally months, which isn't really like me. But yeah, I'm getting into the sewing now. I feel like my mind gets very much taken up with one thing, and I get a little bit obsessive. So if I've got free time, that's what I want to spend it on really. And anything else? I occasionally swim. It's not really a hobby. Do it out of necessity. And I don't do it often enough. I like cooking. Again, don't do it as often as I'd like to, but I enjoy cooking. What else? I feel like I'm missing things out. Oh, making our house pretty, although again, I don't do it as much as I'd like to. But yeah, making the inside of our house look quite nice if I can. And yeah, that's about it really. I think planning my summer, that's my other hobby at the moment. We've got about 7 weeks at home in the UK coming up, and I'm getting into planning that. I'm very excited for that. So yeah, okay then, I hope that was interesting for you. I feel like I've gone on for quite a long time, as usual. Chatty Annie, can't shut me up, can you? I hope you enjoyed it, and I just want to say thank you to all of you who watch and comment and who have subscribed. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. It's honestly, it makes my day every time I see a lovely comment from one of you. We'll see how many of you have viewed these silly little videos that I do. It just makes me very happy, and I'm really glad that you enjoy them. So if you haven't subscribed, please do, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And yeah, I hope that you're all having a lovely day, and I will speak to you again very soon. Keep stitching. Bye.